efficiency, their routines polished by years of repetition. 0.4444 seconds. The gardener trimmed hedges with mechanical patience. The watchman nodded respectfully, and the house help passed silently through corridors that smelled faintly of incense and polished wood. 0.55555 seconds. Zarya greeted them all with his usual warmth, yet something inside him felt oddly displaced, like he was a guest in his own home. As he stepped inside, 1:51 5 seconds luggage trailing behind him, his mother's voice called from upstairs, welcoming him back with affection, 1:11 11 seconds layered in authority. His father, as always, was away on business. Arya smiled to himself. Some things truly 1:02 20 seconds never changed. But then, as he walked toward the kitchen to grab a glass of water, something unexpected made him 1:271 27 seconds pause. There, standing near the counter, was a woman he had never seen before. 1:321 32 seconds. She was tying her straight black hair back into a neat knot, her movements slow and deliberate. She wore a simple cotton salwire suit in muted colors. 1:421 142 seconds. Nothing that demanded attention. Yet her presence quietly did exactly that. Her face was gentle, almost serene. 1:491 149 seconds, framed by tired eyes that carried a depth Arya could not immediately place. 1:541 154 seconds. She moved with careful grace, as if every action, washing rice, wiping the counter, arranging utensils, held 2012 minutes, 1 second, meaning. Arya stood still for a moment, longer than he should have. The woman noticed him and immediately lowered her 2072 7 seconds gaze, offering a polite nod. "Good afternoon, sir," she said softly, her voice calm and respectful. Her name, 152 15 seconds Arya would later learn, was Shanti Devi, 2182 18 seconds. She had been working in the house for a whole year, and yet Arya had never known of her existence. The realization unsettled him more than it should have. He prided himself on being 2.262 226 seconds observant on knowing the people around him. And yet, here she was, a quiet presence woven into the daily rhythm of the house, unnoticed by him until now. 372 237 seconds. Shanti did not linger. After her greeting, she returned to her work as if Arya's presence was no more than a passing breeze. That strangely was what 242 244 seconds intrigued him most. There was no nervousness in her movements, no attempt to impress or engage, just composure. 512 251 seconds, distance, control. As Arya walked away, 2.542 254 seconds glass of water forgotten, he found his thoughts circling back to her. Who was she? Why did she seem so withdrawn yet so warm? 3.33 3 seconds. There was a softness about her that did not feel rehearsed, and an emptiness behind her eyes that suggested a life shaped by loss. 123 312 seconds. That night, lying on his bed in his childhood room, Arya stared at the ceiling fan as it spun lazily above him. 193 319 seconds. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet that amplifies thoughts rather than calming them. He tried to recall conversations with his parents about the household staff, names, backgrounds, 393 329 seconds, small stories. Yet Shanti's name never surfaced. The absence of information only deepened his curiosity. Arya had 3,373 337 seconds, always been the kind of person who connected easily with others. Friendly, 3,113 341 seconds open, unguarded. But with Shanti, he felt an unfamiliar hesitation, not fear. 3.463 346 seconds, but awareness, as if approaching her required care, patience, and respect for boundaries he did not yet understand. 3,533 353 seconds. Unknowingly, that first silent encounter had already planted something within him. A curiosity that would soon turn into attention. Attention that would 4:14 1 second grow into attachment, and an attachment that would quietly change everything. 4:64 minutes, 6 seconds. The next morning, Arya woke earlier than usual. It wasn't intentional at first. 4:104 minutes, 10 seconds. Just a restless stirring that pulled him out of sleep before the house fully came alive. Sunlight crept through the curtains. 4:174 minutes, 4:17 seconds, pale and hesitant, touching the familiar walls of his childhood room. For a moment, he lay still, listening. The 4:244 minutes, 424 seconds. Mansion breathed softly at this hour. No conversations, no footsteps rushing through corridors, just the distant sound of utensils clinking somewhere downstairs. 4:344 minutes, 434 seconds. Without quite admitting it to himself, 4:364 minutes, 436 seconds. Arya knew where that sound was coming from. He got up, dressed casually, and walked toward the staircase. 4:24 minutes, 442 seconds. Each step felt slower than usual, as though he were approaching something fragile. When he reached the kitchen doorway, he stopped again, this time deliberately. 4:514 minutes, 451 seconds. Shanti was already there. She stood by the sink, sleeves rolled neatly to her elbows, washing rice with careful hands. 4:584 minutes, 458 seconds. The early light filtered through the small kitchen window, catching the curve of her profile and softening the tired lines on her face. There was a rhythm to her movements. Wash, drain, repeat. 5:95 minutes, 9 seconds, quiet, focused, almost meditative. 5:135 minutes, 513 seconds. Arya watched without realizing how long he had been standing there. She seemed different in the morning, less, guarded. 5:205 minutes, 520 seconds perhaps. Or maybe the silence allowed her true self to surface. There was no performance in her work, no rush to 5:275 minutes, 527 seconds, proved diligence, just responsibility carried with dignity. 5:315 minutes, 531 seconds. "Good morning, sir," Shanti said suddenly, sensing his presence without turning around. Arya startled slightly, embarrassed at being caught staring. 5:405 minutes, 540 seconds. "Good morning," he replied, clearing his throat. "You're up early." 465 minutes, 546 seconds. Shanti nodded, her eyes briefly meeting his before lowering again. 515 minutes, 551 seconds. "There's a lot to do before the house wakes up." That was all she said. No invitation for conversation. 585 minutes, 558 seconds. No curiosity returned. 6:016 minutes, 1 second. She went back to her task and Arya realized something unsettling. She wasn't uncomfortable around him, but she also wasn't trying to be noticed. It was 6,096 minutes, 6 seconds, as if she had learned long ago how to exist without taking up space. Over the next few days, Arya began noticing her everywhere. In the laundry room, folding 6,176 minutes, 17 seconds clothes with careful precision. In the hallway, moving aside quietly when someone passed. In the courtyard, 6,236 minutes, 623 seconds, sweeping fallen leaves while the world hurried past her. She spoke only when spoken to, answered politely, and never lingered longer than necessary. 6,336 minutes, 633 seconds, yet there was warmth in her smiles. 6,46 minutes, 34 seconds, brief, restrained, but genuine. Arya found himself slowing down just to cross paths with her. He complimented her once, casually, on how neatly she 6:36 minutes, 643 seconds, arranged the linen cupboard. Shanti had looked startled, as if praise were something she did not know how to receive. 6:506 minutes, 650 seconds. "Thank you, sir," she had said softly. 6:536 minutes, 653 seconds, and returned to her work without another word. That reaction stayed with him. 6:596 minutes, 659 seconds. One afternoon, unable to hold his curiosity any longer, Arya casually asked the watchman about her. The man shrugged. "She's been here about a year, 7:067 minutes, 6 seconds, quiet woman, hard worker, never any trouble." The driver said something similar. 127 minutes, 712 seconds, though his tone shifted oddly when Shanti's name came up. His eyes flickered away too quickly. His words clipped short as if there was more he chose not to say. 227 minutes, 722 seconds. That night, the truth finally surfaced. 7.247 minutes, 724 seconds. One of the older housemates, seeing Arya's interest, spoke gently. She lost her husband 2 years ago. 7:17 minutes, 731 seconds. Beta, no children. After that, she became very quiet. Work keeps her steady. 7,397 minutes, 739 seconds. A widow. 7.417 minutes, 741 seconds. The word settled heavily in Arya's chest. Suddenly, everything made sense. 7.477 minutes, 747 seconds. The sadness behind her calm, the careful distance, the way she carried herself like someone who had already learned how easily life could take things away. 7.567 minutes, 756 seconds. From that moment, Arya's attention changed. It was no longer just curiosity. It became concern, care, an 8:48 minutes, 4 seconds unspoken desire to protect something fragile yet strong. He began waking up early on purpose now just to see her start her day, not to interfere, just to 138 minutes, 813 seconds. Know she was there, moving through the quiet, holding the house together in her own unseen way. Shanti, meanwhile, noticed the change. 228 minutes, 822 seconds. She felt his presence more often, his eyes lingering respectfully, his greetings warmer, but never crossing a line. It unsettled her, not because at 318 minutes, 831 seconds was improper, but because it stirred something she had long kept buried, and neither of them yet understood how dangerous that stirring would become. As 408 minutes, 840 seconds the days passed, Arya's return home began to feel less like a break from his studies and more like the beginning of something unfamiliar. 498 minutes, 849 seconds. The mansion, once a place of predictable routines, now seemed to hold quiet moments that pulled his attention in unexpected directions. And at the center, 578 minutes, 857 seconds, of those moments was Shanti. He started noticing details he had never cared about before. The way Shanti folded 9:59 minutes, 5 seconds freshly, washed clothes, smoothing each crease with care, as if the fabric carried stories that deserved respect. 139 minutes, 913 seconds. The near-silent sound of her footsteps as she moved through the corridors. 169 minutes, 16 seconds, always alert, always aware of her surroundings, the patience with which she completed her work, never rushing. 229 minutes, 22 seconds, never cutting corners. It struck Arya that her discipline was not driven by fear of reprimand, but by an inner sense of responsibility. 319 minutes, 931 seconds at night, these images followed him. 339 minutes, 933 seconds lying in bed, staring into the dimness of his room. Arya found his thoughts drifting back to the kitchen, to the courtyard, to that calm figure moving 419 minutes, 941 seconds through the house. He tried to distract himself with music, with his phone, with half-read books, but nothing worked. The 489 minutes, 948 seconds. More he tried to push her out of his mind, the more present she became. It confused him. Arya had always been easygoing. He made friends quickly. 9,569 minutes, 956 seconds, spoke freely and rarely felt unsettled by emotions he could not name. Yet with Shanti, he felt careful, observant, as though one careless step could disturb 10:05 10 minutes, 5 seconds, something delicate that had taken a long time to form. One evening during dinner, 10:09 10 minutes, 9 seconds, he casually asked his mother about the household staff, names, backgrounds who had joined recently. His mother answered absently, distracted by her phone, and 10:18 10 minutes, 10:18 seconds, upcoming social commitments. When Arya mentioned Shanti's name, there was a brief pause. "Oh yes," his mother said, 10:26 10 minutes,